By the time Leo checked the clock, the art studio was bathed in amber light, the kind that made everything feel suspended between day and night. He stretched his arms, joints stiff after hours of sketching. The final critique for his graduate exhibition was in 3 days, and his brain felt like it had been sanded down to the bone. He packed his pencils slowly, not because he wasn't ready to leave, but because leaving meant thinking again. Outside, rain began to fall, light at first, then steady, like the sky had finally made up its mind. Leo sighed. He hadn't brought an umbrella. When he pushed open the studio door, the smell of rain rushed in, cool and clean. The courtyard was mostly empty, except for one familiar figure standing near the acacia tree by the walkway. Adrian. Leo froze for half a second, wondering if exhaustion was making him imagine things. But no, there Adrian was, tall frame leaning against the trunk, phone glowing faintly in his hand. He wore his usual hoodie, sleeves pushed up, hair slightly damp as if he'd already been caught in the rain. "You stayed," Leo said as he approached. Adrian looked up, surprise flickering across his face before it softened into a smile. "You said you'd be done late." "I didn't say you had to wait." "I know." The rain thickened, drumming against the leaves above them. Leo pulled out his umbrella and opened it. "You'll get sick standing there." Adrian stepped closer without hesitation, easily fitting under the canopy. They stood shoulder to shoulder, closer than necessary. Leo became acutely aware of everything, the warmth radiating from Adrian's arm, the faint scent of soap and rain, the way their elbows brushed with every small movement. They started walking toward the dorms, the path slick beneath their shoes. For a while, they talked about nothing important. Adrian complained about his thesis advisor. Leo joked about ruining 3 canvases before finally getting one right. Their laughter mingled with the sound of rain, comfortable and familiar. But beneath it all, something unspoken pulsed between them. They had been friends for almost 2 years, ever since Adrian, a graduate student in urban planning, had wandered into the wrong building on his first day and asked Leo where the architecture lab was. Since then, they'd shared late-night coffee runs, mutual stress, and quiet companionship that neither quite knew how to name. Leo had started noticing things he shouldn't have. The way Adrian's eyes crinkled when he smiled, the steadiness of his presence, the way silence between them never felt awkward. They stopped at the dorm entrance. Warm light spilled from the lobby windows, inviting and final. "Well," Adrian said, hands tucked into his pockets, "this is you." "Yeah." Neither moved. The rain soaked the edges of Leo's shoes. He didn't care. "I was thinking," Adrian began, then laughed under his breath. "Actually, that's a lie. I've been thinking for weeks." Leo's heart skipped. "About?" Adrian hesitated, gaze dropping to the pavement before lifting again, steady and earnest. "About how I look forward to seeing you more than I probably should, about how every time you text me my day gets better, and about how I'm tired of pretending that's normal." The words hit Leo like a held breath finally released. "Adrian," his voice came out softer than he meant. "I don't want to make things weird," Adrian said quickly. "If you don't feel the same, we can just forget I said anything. I just needed you to know." For a moment, Leo couldn't speak. His thoughts raced, colliding with months of quiet longing he'd never dared name. "You already make things weird," Leo said finally, a smile tugging at his lips. "By standing in the rain for me, by knowing when I'm stressed before I say anything, by being you." Adrian blinked. "I like you," Leo continued, heart pounding. "More than a friend, I just didn't think you'd ever." Adrian laughed, breathless and relieved. "I've been hoping you would." The space between them felt suddenly charged. Rain continued to fall, but the world had narrowed to just the two of them, standing under a shared umbrella, caught between what had been and what could be. Adrian lifted a hand, hesitating inches from Leo's wrist. "Can I?" Leo nodded, barely breathing. Adrian's fingers wrapped gently around Leo's wrist, warm and grounding. He leaned in slowly, giving Leo time to pull away. Leo didn't. Their lips met in a soft, careful kiss, hesitant at first, like they were testing something fragile. It was warm and unhurried, the kind of kiss that felt more like a promise than a declaration. Leo's free hand tightened on the umbrella handle as his chest filled with something light and dizzying. Adrian's thumb brushed against his pulse as if memorizing the rhythm there. When they pulled back, their foreheads rested together, breaths mingling. Wow, Adrian murmured. Leo laughed quietly, yeah. They stayed like that for a moment, rain tapping gently around them, neither wanting to be the first to move. So, Adrian said, smiling, do I get to walk you upstairs? Leo nodded, I think that, aloud. They entered the dorm, dripping slightly on the floor, both smiling like they'd just discovered a secret. Outside, the rain kept falling, but for the first time in weeks, Leo felt completely at ease.